There are two ways to live your life, two philosophies, and the difference between them can determine whether you succeed or spend your life trying to recover. Most people don't even realize which they're living, but when you see it, you can't unsee it, and it will change your approach to everything. I call this concept staying out of trouble, and it's one of the most important lessons I learned during my surgical training. Let me take you back into the operating room with me many years ago. During my final year of training in surgery at Beth Israel Hospital in Newark, New Jersey, I had the great privilege of working with an exceptional man and an exceptional surgeon. His name was Dr. Donald Brief, and sadly, he's no longer with us, but he will always have a special place in my heart, and he will always have an impact on my career and my future. He was an Ivy League trained physician, technically brilliant surgeon, and calm under pressure. He was completely in control no matter how complex the case. This was a true surgical master. And I had 4 months to learn from him in my chief resident year. Now, as a chief resident, I had the ability to choose who I operated with, and I chose to spend the majority of my time with Dr. Don Brief, because I understood something even then. If you want to become great, you have to learn from the best. Now, on the very first day we sat down together, we had breakfast before going up to the operating room, and he talked to me about the months that were coming ahead. And just before going up to go into the OR, he said something to me, and I'll never forget this. He said, "John, over the next 4 months, I'm going to teach you how to stay out of trouble in the operating room. And I'm going to leave it up to the other surgeons to teach you how to get out of trouble." Think about that, because that distinction is everything. He's the only surgeon who ever put it that way. He was the only person to tell me that message. And at first it sounds subtle, but it's not. Like I said, it's a kind of moment. It's profound, because most people are trained to get out of trouble, to react, to fix mistakes, to recover. But very few people are trained to avoid the problem in the first place. And over those 4 months, I saw exactly what he meant. The surgeries were clean, precise, controlled. We weren't stopping bleeding because of carelessness. We weren't repairing damage from rushed decisions because the mistakes weren't happening. Why? Because everything was done with intention, preparation, focus, discipline. And that's when it became clear to me. There are two approaches to life: the get out of trouble approach and the stay out of trouble approach. And the second is far superior to the first. Now you might be thinking, okay, that makes sense in surgery, but what does that have to do with me? The answer is everything, because this applies to every area of your life. Let's start with school. Most students get in trouble. They fall behind. They let assignments pile up. They let their grades slip. And then what happens? They spend the rest of the term trying to recover, trying to catch up, trying to fix the problem. That's the get out of trouble approach. But the high performer does something different. They stay on top of their work from day one. They stay disciplined. They stay consistent. They don't let things slide. And because of that, they don't have to recover. They stay in control. That's the stay out of trouble approach. Now let's take this into business. Most people in business operate in a reaction mode. They wait until there's a problem, cash flow issues, customer complaints, missed deadlines, and then they scramble to fix it. But the top performers, they build systems. They anticipate problems. They stay ahead. They don't wait for trouble. They prevent it. That's the difference. Now let's talk about financial success. Most people get into trouble. They overspend, they don't save, they don't plan, and then they spend years trying to get out of debt, trying to recover, trying to rebuild. But the disciplined individual stays out of trouble from the first place. They save early, they invest consistently, they make thoughtful decisions, and because of that, they don't have to recover. They grow. Now here's where this ties directly into something I talk about often, the 104-hour work week. Because staying out of trouble requires effort, it requires attention, it requires discipline. You don't stay ahead by accident. You stay ahead by working ahead, by thinking ahead, by acting ahead. And that takes time. That takes consistency. That takes a willingness to do more than what's comfortable. And this is where most people fall short. They don't want to put in the effort up front. They don't want to put in the hours. They don't want to stay disciplined early on. So they pay the price later. They trade short-term comfort and ease for long-term stress and anxiety. But the high performer does the opposite. They accept short-term discipline for long-term freedom. And that's a trade you have to be willing to make. Now, here's something else that's critical. This concept is not just about avoiding mistakes. It's about creating capacity. Because when you stay out of trouble, you free up energy, you free up time, you free up focus. And that allows you to grow, to expand, to build. Whereas when you're constantly getting out of trouble, all of your energy is spent on recovery and you never move forward. Now think about your own life. Where are you getting into trouble? Where are you falling behind? Where are you reacting instead of leading? Because that's where your opportunity is. That's where you can shift from reacting to controlling, from recovering to building. And that shift changes everything. So remember this, success is not just about what you do, it's about what you prevent. It's about what you avoid. It's about how you position yourself before problems arise. Because the people who stay out of trouble don't just survive, they thrive, they grow, they build, and they win. That's the difference between thinking about success and training your mind for it. Follow Trueback Seminars. I have a lot more great information for you. Thank you so much.